Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Yevamot, page 64, which addresses, on some level, the age-old question, why do bad things happen to good people? Specifically, we find that the greatest people who ever lived had difficulty having children. Abraham and Sarah, they were not able to have a child for many years together until finally at a very old age they had a child, Isaac. And it's because she was barren. She could not have kids. And then when we look at Isaac, he was married to Rebekah, and for 20 years they could not have children. And they were praying constantly in order to be able to have a child. They longed for a child. Eventually they had twins, Jacob, Yaakov, and Esav. And we also find that Yaakov married Rachel, and Rachel also couldn't have children. Eventually she had two children, Joseph and Benjamin. We also find the great woman Hannah, is found in the book of Samuel, could not have children either. All of these women are barren, and on this the Talmud wonders why. Why would God do this? If these are such great people, which they were, why would God not just let them have children right away? And on this the Talmud says something fascinating. God has a desire to the prayers of the righteous, which teaches us what prayer is all about. Prayer is not just simply asking for things and hoping that you're going to get what you want, and maybe God will not necessarily give it to you, but the answer is sometimes no. Prayer is about a connection, a relationship. In fact, in the times of the temple, we used to bring something called a sacrifice. In Hebrew, a karban comes from the word karov, to become close. The purpose of bringing those offerings was to have a relationship and a connection to the temple and to God. And in the absence of the temple and offerings, we now have our prayers, which means that that is the purpose of what prayer really is. It's a way of connecting ourselves to the Almighty, to God. And therefore, what God is telling us is that even though on the surface it may look, especially when it comes to these great people, that God does not care about them and He's not answering their prayers, the truth is He was waiting because He wanted to be able to have this relationship. He wanted them to keep asking. Just like a child who asks for a cookie. If you immediately give it to them, they're going to stop asking. They're going to walk away. But if you don't give it right away, even though it seems a little bit cruel, but the truth is it's because that parent just wants that connection, loves their child so much, and they just want to be able to continue in having a conversation with their child so that they remain close to them. And that's what God did as well. So it's important to realize that sometimes on the surface we see, and we sometimes see things where God apparently is doing harsh things to good people, but at least when it comes to prayer, we have an answer.